gentlemen, you're listening to the USBCast. It's episode 9 with Chris, Ryan, and Drew.
How's it going, everybody? Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you ring that bell for those post notifications, and follow us on Twitter at TheUSBCast. Chris, what are we talking about today?
We're going to get into the All-Star Weekend events. We're a man down this week with Ryan not being here, but, we're going to push through. Me and Drew got this week, We're pretty clutch. We're also going to get into some fun NASCAR talk for the first time on the show. Me and Drew are big NASCAR fans, so you're going to hear from us about that as well. We're going to get into a couple bets this week. We got a couple fun ones for you, and we're going to address last week's bets, which I probably won.
Yes, I think you did.
Let's go. Big day.
All right, so I think that's a good transition into the All-Star Saturday night, as well as the Rising Stars game, but who really cares about that on Friday night?
Miles Bridges, baby.
Yeah,
MVP.
it was kind of trying to do a dunk fest there, but who really cares about the Rising Stars game? All the real stars were out on Sunday night, of course, for the All-Star game. So, Chris, what was your favorite moment of the weekend?
I'd say my favorite moment of the weekend was the Aaron Gordon dunk where he put it off the side of the backboard and then did a 360 and almost cradled it in. Yeah. That was insane.
The one-handed 360, that was pretty sweet.
I would say that's the most iconic moment of the weekend. Actually, there's another one too. The obviously the Buddy Hield shot at the end. I'm sure we'll dive into the whole 3-point contest, but that was incredible, man.
So I guess we can start with the skills competition. That's just like the nice appetizer to the entrees of Saturday All-Star Saturday night. It's really quick. No one really watches it, but I was pretty surprised. All the guards lost in the first round to the big guys. What'd you think about that?
I think this is it's more becoming I'd say more positionless game. Some of these bigs are starting to get better at, the ball handling skills, the shooting ability. And I think it's just more of, you see like Ben Simmons is 6'8". He probably should be a small forward or power forward, but he's one of the best ball handlers in the league. So it's kind of just a really positionless sport at this point. And I think that's how the NBA has developed. Yeah. And the skills comp is a good way to just show that.
I was disappointed that Derrick Rose couldn't play because he was injured. But at the same time, it really just proves to you how sucky the guards were, really, honestly. That was kind of disappointing. But
yeah, they were.
Like you said, it also showcases the all-around abilities of the big men as well. So, but of course, in the finals, it was Bam. He beat Domantas Sabonis, and I was rooting for Sabonis. I'll be honest, but it was a good win for Bam too.
Yeah, it was impressive for sure.
Yeah,
congratulations to him. He's definitely a rising star in this league. I'm excited to see where his career takes him from here now that he's able to win something, in the All-Star weekend. I think you're going to see his name at the All-Star events more often every year.
Yeah, I agree. As far as our bets go, we were completely wrong. I had Jason Tatum. I believe he lost in the first round. And you and Ryan both picked SGA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who also lost in the first round. So,
it's all right, though.
We were all 0 for 1 on that one. But the next contest, which is by far probably my favorite contest, including the All-Star game of the entire weekend, and that's the Mountain Dew 3-point contest. Before we get into the bets, what did you think of the new, we talked about it briefly on last week's episode, what did you think about the new Mountain Dew Zone ball?
I think it definitely adds some more excitement to it's just a consistently developing event. I think it just adds to more excitement, more thrilling endings to the games. It's just, I don't know, it kind of just shows you how the NBA has developed. The 3-point line is no longer really even a concern anymore. People just kind of just pull up from deeper now. I think that the 4-point line is almost a show of skill for that.
I would have been more impressed if they moved it back a little bit, because once I saw it, it looked like it was far back, but it wasn't super far back.
I don't think it should have been worth the extra point. I think maybe they should have moved it back a couple more.
Yeah, and then but it's obviously just a marketing gimmick by Mountain Dew. I wonder how much money they had to pay to get the green ball and the stand that they took it off of, as well as the green spot on the floor that was the Mountain Dew Zone. I think I heard some people talking about it had to be at least $1 million for that each, possibly. But I thought even though it was a gimmick, it didn't really add anything to the competition, but it also didn't take anything away. And I was kind of concerned about it, but yeah, it'll be kind of fun. It'll inflate all the scores, so it kind of hurts from an historical perspective.
Records and stuff like that. You're gonna see pre-Mountain Dew 4-point zone era posts after scores or whatever. When they break the record, doesn't really mean anything to me anymore.
Exactly.
That extra zone.
That was kind of the one cool thing, because the dunk contest has gone through so many different iterations over the years, but the 3-point contest has kind of stayed the same ever since they introduced it in the 80s. But now it won't be like that anymore. But it also adds for more excitement, like you said, and it allows, if you suck on your first rack, you can come back easily with the 2 Mountain Dew Zone balls. So, but now going into the actual competition, it was, like I said, by far the most exciting thing in my opinion, the most exciting thing of the weekend. And What do you think about Trae Young's excellent performance there in the first round?
You know, he was throwing up some definite bricks. You know, I actually didn't get to watch the event live, but I watched the highlights, especially of his run. You know,
15 points, by far the worst.
Not a great job by Trae Young.
He was the first shooter too. It was like, what is going on?
Maybe it's a little nerves from him. You know, the spotlight. You know, it's a big spot. You know, his team's only won 11 games, so they don't play in very many meaningful things, I guess. But you know, Trae Young, he's still a great shooter. I think he'll be back eventually to avenge that.
Yeah.
And I think eventually he will win a 3-point contest.
Yeah,
he's still a really good shooter.
Some guys can perform under the bright lights, and some people can't. And I think Trae Young just proved he's a choke artist after that epic performance.
A bit much. I'm willing to give him a couple more tries before we call him a centennial, choke artist.
He's the Kyle Shanahan of NBA All-Star Weekend.
3-point contest?
Yeah.
Interesting.
But obviously the contest was a lot of fun. Zach LaVine.
Zach LaVine?
Zach LaVine. He had a good showing. Joe Harris did too, and they didn't even make it to the finals. They had really good scores. Of course, the final three was Devin Booker, who was absolutely lights out in the first round. It was crazy. And then Davis Bertans, how about that? That was kind of cool. And then, of course, the eventual winner, Buddy Hield. So what did you think of those three guys? You said Bertans surprised you?
Yeah, he definitely did, but I think I remember Ryan mentioning that we shouldn't sleep on him. I don't know if you remember hearing that, but I think he said that we shouldn't sleep on Bertans. And that was a good call because I definitely slept on him. Yeah. I was not expecting him to do it. I was expecting him to be the Trae Young of the group.
I was rooting against him because I think he's the one that knocked Duncan Robinson out, and I've made it well known on this podcast that I'm a big Duncan Robinson fan, and he's the one that knocked him out of the final three. But at the same time, he's been, like Ryan said last week, he's been lights out for the Wizards all year long, and he really proved. And he got off to a really slow start too.
Yeah,
he rebounded.
That's for sure.
And he won it. And he had a respectable score in the finals too. But when you're going against Booker and Hield, those are two of the best shooters in the NBA.
Respectable scores don't get it done in that. You got to be legendary.
Yeah.
He would have had to shoot lights out in the last round, not just a good score.
Yeah. But yeah, what did you think? The final I thought was really, really entertaining.
Yeah, definitely
it came down to the last shot, and he was going nuts. It was kind of fun to see.
Yeah, he started off pretty slow in that round too, but he really got hot in a hurry and knocked down the final shot. Was very clutch by him. He's a great shooter. They both are, honestly. Him and Booker. I'm really disappointed that Damian Lillard couldn't participate though.
Yeah,
I was really excited to watch him play. I'm the Damian Lillard. I mean, it's not really an apologist because he's a great player, but I love him. One of my favorite athletes of all time. But I think he really deserved to. We really deserve to see him on the court. He's a great player.
Yeah. You of course had him as your winner,
I
so
had him as my winner.
You did not have. And then Ryan and I both had Duncan Robinson, who, like I said earlier, lost. So
we're off to a
we
good
were
start
again
first 2 events.
0 for 3 on that one as well, just like the skills comp. But we kind of forgot to mention it before we get into the rest of Saturday night. The MVP celebrity game. We picked that, and Chris, you got that correct. It was Common.
Let's go.
I didn't watch it.
I didn't watch it either.
I didn't watch the celebrity game, but Common won it. So you got that.
Really? I honestly didn't even know that.
Ryan picked Aja Wilson. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right.
Yeah, that's right.
And I picked Quentin Richardson. But yeah, Common got it.
Common just outshined everyone.
Yeah.
Great player.
Common was also a slam dunk contestant judge. I don't really know why he was a judge. I don't think Common's ever dunked the basketball. I get he's from Chicago, but what? Anyway, the slam dunk contest, AT&T. What'd you think of it? I know you said you didn't watch it live, but you watched the highlights. So
yeah, I was unfortunately stuck at work while it was going on, but I caught the tail end of it, and I watched all the highlights. Not every dunk, but I watched the majority of them at least. And Aaron Gordon, he had a very impressive showing. I'd say slightly got robbed again for the second time, but then again he did do kind of the same dunk a few different times,
That's what I know this is by far the most controversial dunk contest we've had in a few years, I would say.
Since him and Zach LaVine one.
Even that one, I think this one's more controversial because people are like losing their minds. And I think Dwayne Wade's a terrible judge. I agree with all the people. I mean, I think they should implement the rule where you can't have ex-teammates of players in the dunk contest as judges, because they had him mic'd up, and on the broadcast he was obviously biased towards Derrick Jones Jr. And I get it, it's just a dunk contest, who cares? But at the same time, I mean, it kind of ruins the integrity of the contest by having D. Wade as a judge. I mean, I don't know what you think about it, if you care about that, but...
No, I do agree with it a little bit. I think it was a little bit of a homer pick as the judge, having him and then Derrick Jones Jr. in the contest, Jones obviously had a very good showing, but I felt like his dunks were not very original. They were kind of just a lot of Like, even his last dunk was kind of just seemed like a Zach LaVine, like, rip-off dunk almost, I guess, if that makes sense. It was kind of just like a worse version of the things Zach LaVine did to win that one year's contest.
In my opinion, in Aaron Gordon's case, they should rename the contest. Let's see how many times I can jump over Common, presented by AT&T. Or not Common, Chance the Rapper. And then in Derrick Jones Jr.'s case, it should be called the How Many Times I Can Put the Ball Between My Legs and Dunk It contest, presented by AT&T. Because, like you said, Derrick Jones, he just kept putting the ball between his legs. And it looked sweet. And I think part of his problem was that he made it, like, effortless. But he just kind of kept doing the same dunk over and over again.
It didn't seem very...
And everyone's like, oh my God, this is the greatest dunk contest I've ever watched in my life. And I'm like, maybe I just hate the dunk contest because I swear to God, 3-point contest, I was like on my couch. I was excited. I was into it. Dunk contest, I literally almost fell asleep because I was so bored.
Jeez.
It was... I don't know. Maybe I'm just not a dunk contest guy. But
I like the dunk contest, but I don't think it was as good as the Zach LaVine, Aaron Gordon shootout. I felt like Aaron Gordon's last dunk, the one that is everyone's saying he got ripped off on, I get he can jump really high and Taco Fall's really tall, but it's the same thing he's done. He had already done just over a little bit of a taller guy. Yes, it's very impressive that he can jump 7 feet high, but I already knew that. I just want to see what he can. I like when they do stuff with like they do different flips and stuff. You know, like this, the one where he had the dunk, where he threw it off the backboard and did that cool 360.
Like you talked about earlier, yeah, that was by far the best dunk of the night.
Yeah, that was the best dunk I've ever seen, to be honest. That was incredible. I keep watching it because it's really it just looks really smooth. You know, he did make it look really easy, but at the same time, I can't even fathom doing that dunk. You know, I can't even imagine doing it.
He also. Derrick Jones copied one of his dunks, too. It was like they did, as I rewatched it before we recorded this, I rewatched the contest, and Aaron Gordon did an off-the-backboard reverse, like on the side, off the side of the backboard reverse, and then Derrick Jones did literally the same exact thing the next play, and they both got 50s. And it's like, I don't know. The one Derrick Jones dunk that was sweet, though, was when he threw it off the backboard, jumped over the guy, did it between the legs, and then dunked.
That was awesome.
That one was pretty sweet. I'm not going to lie.
That's incredible. I like when they use the backboard and the rim and stuff.
Yeah, because I think they said that's the first time anyone's ever done that. Yeah, so that was a 50. But some of the 50s, I know Kenny Smith, I love Kenny Smith, but on the broadcast, everything was, oh, that's a 50.
Dude
that's
just
a 50.
Hands out, he just hands out 50s.
But then, okay, we can get into this now, but I think Pat Connaughton got absolutely robbed. I mean, like, he did the white man can't jump dunk, which I get was not a super impressive dunk, but, like, he had props. It was a nice dunk. It was better than Derrick.
More creative.
It was better than Derrick Jones Jr. bringing out a cake for some reason because of someone's birthday. Didn't even jump over the cake. Like, if this is the jump over people contest, jump over a cake. Then he has all these cheerleaders on, like, making like a... I don't know, like a runway, ready to go. No, the TikTok, I'll get to that in a second. And he runs over and he jumps over Bam. He doesn't even go between the legs. He just jumps over Bam. I think, and he got 1 point more than Pat Connaughton on the white man can't jump dunk, which I thought was way better because he jumped over Christian Yelich, NL MVP Christian Yelich, right? And I don't know. I thought it was better. And then Dwayne Wade, because he's biased, gave Pat Connaughton an 8 on that dunk, which was easily at least a 9. And because of that, they didn't. Pat Connaughton got screwed because the next dunk he did a sweet one off the backboard. That was a 50, but Derrick Jones Jr. also got a 50, and Pat Connaughton was screwed and could move on. So I was more upset about that than Aaron Gordon, honestly. And I don't know why the judges didn't reward Pat Connaughton.
I'm impressed with Pat Connaughton's showing. You know, I think he may have gotten robbed as well. I did pick Derrick Jones to win the whole dunk contest.
Yes.
So I'm happy he was able to pull out the win. But I think Connaughton deserved a little more love than he got. And I underappreciated him as well, too. You know, I said last week, I was wondering why he was even in the contest because I'd never really seen him do much. But his dunks were very impressive, and I think he may have gotten robbed a little bit.
Also, you brought the TikTok dancers, so now I'm going to go off on the TikTok dancers.
Jeez.
He brings out the TikTok, Aaron Gordon, talking about the Aaron Gordon. This was his first dunk of the final round. He brings out the TikTok dancers. Okay, so he's going to jump over them. No, they go to center court and start dancing, and then he jumps over Chance the Rapper again. Why does that make any sense? I don't understand why he did that. Like, why are you bringing out the TikTok dancers? And honestly, if you look at the replay of Aaron Gordon's final dunk of round 2 and round 1, I guess, technically speaking, and that dunk, the TikTok dunk, it is literally the same exact dunk over Chance the Rapper. He did the same exact thing. If you watch the replay, it is basically the same dunk. And he got 50s both times. And I don't know. I don't get it. And like I said, it was just kind of they did the same thing over and over again. I mean, he jumped. Chance the Rapper is as tall as me, and he dunked. I think he's shorter than me, arguably.
Yeah, he is. He's only like 5'9".
Yeah, something like that. And he dunked over him 3 times. It's not impressive. And it was, oh, that's a 50. What?
That's a 50.
I don't know. And then I don't know. I know I'm getting fired up about this, but everyone's talking about how great a dunk contest it was, and I thought they just did the same thing over and over. And there was a few, like we talked about, the 2 really good dunks.
Yeah.
And I forgot to mention, Derrick Jones Jr. hit a 360 reverse tornado in the second.
Yeah, it was sweet.
That was also
that one
cool.
was also cool. There was a few sweet dunks sprinkled into the contest for sure, and obviously none of us could do these dunks. It's even the bad ones are still sweet.
Yes.
But like for when it's just I like originality when I see the dunk contest.
Yes.
I'm willing to reward people even if the dunk isn't as sweet, if it's something creative that they tried or something like that. Like Aaron Gordon's dunk, a lot of people, honestly, it's probably a bold take for me to say it's the best dunk of all time, but I thought it was really
really good. That was a really good dunk.
I thought it was incredible.
Derrick Jones off the backboard was really good, too.
Also very incredible. I think those dunks are a lot cooler than watching him 360 from inside the free throw line or whatever, go through the legs or whatever. I've seen it 100 times. Even in games, I've seen it.
Even Aaron Gordon's first dunk that he had in the very first dunk out of the contest, that might have been better than him just jumping over Chance the Rapper. Like the first Chance, I know I keep talking about it, but the first Chance the Rapper dunk was cool. The next one sucked. Like it was the same thing.
Right.
And then they started copying each other, and then I don't know. Like I feel bad because I feel like Aaron Gordon, this is his 3rd time in the contest. I feel like he kind of deserved to be in it, deserved to win it at least. But
at least once. I even think his last dunk contest, I know this is going back 4 years or whatever, but he did some really cool dunks in that. I don't know if he got robbed.
He didn't really, because he had that weird thing with the drone, and it was like
right. There were some really awesome dunks where he put it under his he jumped over the mascot and put it like under himself, and
that was the Zach LaVine one. That was the first time he was in it, I believe.
Right. No, that's
the second time
that's what I'm talking about.
The second time he was like he didn't even make it to the finals.
Yeah,
he did the weird
I'm talking about
the drone.
one with him and Zach LaVine.
Yeah, okay.
The cool dunk where he went under himself with the ball and like slammed it with his left hand. That was unbelievable.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, obviously I picked him to win it, so I kind of wanted him to win it. And we can get into our picks real quick. You picked Derrick Jones Jr. like you said. You won, and you got both of them.
Locks me up.
You were 2 for 4. And then Ryan and I both picked Aaron Gordon, so we were 0 for 4 for the 4 contests that we picked. So they kind of sucked. But, obviously, I don't know. We can talk about Dwight Howard real quick, too. I completely forgot he was in the contest. His first dunk was stupid. I'm just going to be honest. Like I know, like you said, we can't do any of these dunks, but he literally just did like a lame 360. He was like full spread. I think he was kind of trying to do the Statue of Liberty.
It looked cool, but it wasn't a dunk contest.
It was like slow motion in real time, and then they showed the slow motion of it, and it looked like really slow.
Yeah, right.
Like I get he's old, but I don't know. I mean, and then the Kobe Bryant dunk, that was a 49, but it was literally Jameer Nelson coming out was a nice touch, and he had the cool Kobe ball, but Jameer just lobbed it to him, and he dunked it. Like he didn't do anything cool. I mean, he had the Superman dunk, and that's nice, and I gave him. They knew he wasn't moving on to the next round, that's why they gave him a 49. Chadwick Boseman Black Panther was the only guy that didn't give him a 10. So, yeah, they were booing him, but whatever.
That's all right, though. Props to him for coming back.
Yeah, it was more of a nostalgia thing.
Yeah, right. I don't think anyone picked him to win.
No, yeah. And he knew he was doing the Superman dunk. I mean, it was not as cool as his original Superman dunk because he's 10 years older. But
right.
So I don't know. I feel like they need to revamp this a little bit. Maybe
do a layup contest.
Yeah, let's do a layup contest. Let's do reverse layups. Yeah.
Left hand.
Yeah, left hands. Yeah. Left hands, right hands.
I feel like a cool idea for the All-Star Weekend would be like a horse game with like.
They used to have that.
They should bring it back then.
That'd
be awesome.
Yeah. We can get that in a second. Last thing about the dunk contest. I think maybe they should do with the judges, do some more arbitrary scoring system, something like that. I don't know. But moving into that, what you just talked about, I think they should add some more stuff. The horse, they used to have that a while ago. I guess it just took way too long, and that's why they did away with it. Do you remember the Shooting Stars competition with like Chris Bosh won it like 5 years in a row?
Yeah,
and they had different teams, and they made like the half-court shot. I really like that. That was like one of my favorite things to watch.
Or like, what about pressure? What about if they did like a Thunder and Lightning game from half court or something like that? Imagine how fun that would be.
That'd be fun.
They could add some little like
they're obviously
games or whatever.
3-point contests and dunk contests are obviously never leaving, but skills comp.
They could
add. I mean, the skills comp is so fast. I mean, they could add something else to it.
Yeah, definitely.
There's also been talk about like a potential one-on-one like tournament thing as part of the weekend.
It'd be pretty cool.
They've actually talked about doing away with the game and just having that be the game, which I'm not sure.
I don't think they should do that,
but,
especially after this year. Yeah, they won't do it now.
Yeah. Before we get into this year's game, though, What do you think? You're a Damian Lillard fan. I hate rap, so whenever I hear rap, I think it all sucks. But obviously, Damian Lillard performed, so I can't talk about it because I think it all sucks. But was Damian Lillard good?
I think as a rapper, Damian Lillard is very talented. I'm a huge rap fan, so I actually really like his music, and that's not the first time I've ever heard him before. So I
Was his performance good though? Like
he's
on Saturday night?
show, as an actual performer, he's nothing special. I will admit to that. He's more of, I don't think he'll ever be a guy that does a lot of concerts or anything, because he's not really a performer. He's more of, it was just fun to watch him, spit lyrics, pretty much, in my opinion.
Okay.
I don't know. His pure talent level, I think he's very talented and stacks up well to even like the best, most popular rappers, in this era. But as a performer, he's not much. He was a little boring. A lot of people were on Twitter like memeing saying they were falling asleep during his performance, but that's just not true to me. I enjoyed it.
I didn't notice at the beginning he kind of just kept like walking back and forth and was like nodding his head. He wasn't even saying anything. I was like, what?
Right.
He was letting all the backup singers do all the work. It was kind of confusing.
What was I gonna say? It almost seemed like he was in like one of those like rap battles or whatever with another. He just didn't have another person with him or whatever. He didn't really do anything to perform. He was kind of just up there standing, just rapping.
Yeah.
And I kind of expected it, to be honest, but I enjoyed it. I went back and watched I watched it on YouTube again, and I definitely think he's very talented. And I think he gets too much hate by some people as an artist.
I think he might also get a little. He's like, it seems like other people really love him or they really hate him. Like there's no.
Yeah, I agree.
But,
and I wouldn't say I really love him. I'm not out here saying that he's my favorite artist that I would go like pay a bunch of money to see him in concert, but I enjoy. He's just, it's a good change of pace for a playlist or something like that to have a few songs by him on there.
So that was really it for Saturday night. That was the last big thing. I mean, I guess that was in between. That was before the dunk contest, but it's really all our thoughts on that. So let's lean into Sunday night, which was the All-Star game. Before we talk about the game, I just want to say, so it started at 8 o'clock. That's when coverage started. The game didn't start till 8:45.
Yeah, it took a while for the game to start.
And they had I thought Jennifer Hudson, she did a really nice, I don't know if you saw it, but she did a really nice tribute to Kobe.
Yeah,
that was really nice. But then they had like a video with a bunch of different people from Chicago, like Obama was there, Common was there, Chance was there. I thought Chance was from Atlanta for some reason. I didn't know he was from Chicago.
I knew it.
I don't know why.
I've been listening to him for a while as well.
I don't know why I thought that.
I like Chance the Rapper, and yeah, he's definitely Chicago.
Yeah, but they did that video, and then they did the other skit thing with Common. Yep. And that was like, okay, I'm just ready to watch the game.
Kind of dragged on.
And then they did, I mean, it was cool, but at the same time, I was kind of like, let's just get to the game. But they finally got to the game. And what was your favorite part of the game?
I just say, this is going to be a standard answer for everybody. Just the end of the game was just incredible. Yeah. Watching the defense they played at the end of the game, not even the offense.
Kyle Lowry taking charges in an All-Star game. It was
awesome. That was one of the hardest I've ever seen any of them play. It was incredible. Yeah. It felt like an NBA Finals game right at the end. Probably the last 20 points of that run or whatever felt like. It was really tough for them to score. That's why you can see like how good they can play defense when they really want to.
Yeah.
And it was all the points were on free throws.
It was sweet. It was a lot of fun to watch. It came down, the winning point came down to a free throw. And I will say, I think we were kind of making fun of it last week because it was really complicated and there was all sorts of moving parts. But I think it was kind of a success.
It was a smash hit in my opinion. I think it was really awesome.
The first 3 quarters were typical All-Star game. It was kind of boring.
That's why I don't usually watch the game.
Trae Young had a sweet half-court shot to end the first half. Cool. Chris Paul
was on fire.
Alley-oop dunk. I didn't even know he could. I didn't even know he could dunk.
I've never seen him dunk in a game. He can't even dunk in 2K.
And he wasn't like he barely got. Like he was like
up there,
fully extended up there, like over the rim. That was
How about him knocking
dunk.
down 7 threes as well? He was one of the best players out there. He really.
He had 23 points. He finished with 23 points.
The whole fourth quarter, he was out there.
If it wasn't for Kawhi hitting 8 threes, I mean, in the first half, he
was
on fire.
Yeah,
like
he was nailing threes.
If it wasn't for him, though, I think Chris Paul might have won the MVP award.
Yeah, it was really fun to watch Chris Paul go to work.
Yeah, and a lot of people were like, oh, he shouldn't be an All-Star. Well, I'm not a big Chris Paul fan, but he definitely showed out. But yeah, I mean, like you said, I agree. The fourth quarter, I know it's a pretty boring standard answer, but the fourth quarter was the best. Rudy Gobert, too. I mean, he was blocking people. He was dominant.
Yeah, he did dominate.
I also love the one, I don't know if you saw the dream shake that Embiid did on LeBron.
It was sweet.
LeBron was like, what? Like, he didn't know what was going on.
That was an awesome shot.
That was a sweet shot.
That's what I'm saying. When they want to play, this is like watching the NBA Finals, there's a lot of people that hate on the NBA basketball because regular season they don't play the greatest defense of all time.
Yeah.
If that right there,
it's not as that's also kind of overblown. Like,
I
it's
think
not
so too.
It's not as bad as people make it.
That's
out to
what
be.
the stereotype is.
Yeah.
Like, if you see like a blowout or something, and teams maybe aren't playing great, or maybe they take a possession off or something like that, they always just criticize the NBA for not playing any amount of defense when you clearly watch. That's what playoff basketball is right there at the end of that game. That's how hard they play, man. It's really fun to watch, and if you hate on NBA basketball in the playoffs, you should stop doing that and watch.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it was a really good game. I didn't know Trae Young finished with 10 assists. He did a double-double. He only had 10 points, but he had 10 assists.
Yeah, I didn't really notice that. Good for him.
Yeah, it was a good game. We also crapped on Team Giannis a lot last week too, and they held their own.
They should have won the game. Honestly,
they kind of choked there at the end.
Yeah, they did. They couldn't get a bucket to go. They stopped Team LeBron probably 6 or 7 times at the end of the game.
Yeah, well, they were up because they got they scored
the lead.
They scored more points in the first 3 quarters, so they started fourth with a lead. But they got outscored 33-22 in the they
had a lot of chances right at the end of the game to win.
Yeah,
it was I think it was like 153-151, and then Team LeBron could make anything, and they kept turning the ball over and stuff. But Team Giannis just kept missing shots.
Yeah, it's
a couple threes.
I will say it's kind of hard when they keep panning to all the charities. Like, it's great, but then I'm like, oh my god, like these kids are not going to get $100,000 because Giannis can't make a free throw or something like that. It's kind of sad in a way, but it definitely adds to the. I don't know, the drama, the stakes. Yeah, that's the right word.
It definitely
of the game.
Was the most fun NBA All-Star game that I've watched personally. And I didn't even watch the whole. I ended up tuning in on a live stream in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, so I mean, I watched. Like I said, I watched the introductions. So I watched really the whole game, and the first 3 quarters were kind of boring. So maybe they should do a little something where they kind of amp up the stakes there. I mean, I know they're still playing for charity money, but they just kind of weren't really trying. But the fourth quarter was. I saw people on Twitter were like, "Oh, this was like watching Game 7 of the NBA Finals. How hard they were playing." The only worry that you have is that people get injured. That's like the big concern if they're going that hard. But yeah, it was a good game. It was a good game. The only game I could remember that was as good as All-Star game that was as good as that one was 2 years ago. The first year they did the Team LeBron versus Team Curry when they did the draft, and LeBron hit like a 3 at the end to win it. That was pretty fun too. But
it kind of leads us nicely into the second half of the NBA season. Or
the
second, third, or whatever you want to say, or the end third.
Yeah, and it's been kind of a obviously with Kobe Bryant's passing, it was and David Stern's passing, it was kind of January was a rough month for the NBA, and I feel like the All-Star game kind of was a nice touch and good way to kind of flip the calendar and kind of end on a positive note.
I'm excited to see what happens for the rest of this year. Do you have any bold second half to playoff takes to give us right now? You got one?
I want to say the Pelicans are going to make the playoffs, but I just don't think.
Man, that 8-seed battle is going to be really fun to watch. Pelicans Blazers, a big game coming up. Grizzlies are right now cemented into the 8 seed, but I think I think they're going to cool off at some point. That's what I'm going to say. My bold take will just be that the Grizzlies don't make the playoffs. I think they're going to cool off.
Here's my crazy bold take. This is crazy, so fasten your seatbelts, boys. Washington Wizards, currently in the 9th spot, 3 games back of the Orlando Magic. Bradley Beal's pissed. He felt like he should have made the All-Star game. He's upset. He's mad. I think he's going to go off. I think Bertans is going to continue to play really well. I think Mo Wagner is going to emerge as a nice star. And I think the Wizards are going to sneak into that 8th spot into the playoffs.
No, and I kind of like it.
I know that's really crazy, and people our 13 listeners are going to make fun of me for saying that. But I think it's a bold take. I think it's a bold prediction right there. Because other than that, though, the playoff seeding is kind of set.
For the most part. Besides the 8 in the West, I think
it's still really the Blazers are 4 games back of the Grizzlies. I know the Grizzlies are a young team, but I don't know.
I really think it's up in the air still.
I guess you could make the same argument for Portland, too. Dame Lillard just goes off, but he's also injured now. So.
And they're more injured around him.
Yeah, if they come back, maybe. The Pelicans, like I said,
could get hot.
They're 5.5 back right now. That's hard. And
they
really need to play well.
30 something? Around 30?
Let's see.
A little less than 30?
What is this? Let me do some quick. 40. 55. They played 55 so far. I'm just looking at one. Most teams have played at least 55 games, so they got
under 30.
a little under 30.
I think they can make a run. I think the Grizzlies.
They have to be really good, and Zion's gonna have to play a little bit more.
Grizzlies have to cool off at some point. They've been red hot to end the going right into the All-Star break. I think they cool off. I really do. I think someone's gonna sneak into that. It doesn't have to be the Blazers. I would prefer it to be. But I could easily see the Pelicans.
If it's the Spurs, I swear to God,
I will be very unhappy.
I'm not a Spurs hater, but it's just they every year they just sneak in there, and it's like last year I was like, come on Kings, let's go Kings, and then the Spurs make it, and I'm like,
so boring, man.
Crap.
Such a boring team. DeRozan and Aldridge shoot 20 middies a game. That's really fun to watch.
How about the Timberwolves? Maybe D'Angelo Russell. Okay. Maybe they erased the 12 games back. They are out of the playoffs.
All right. Yeah, sure thing, man.
Literally. No, but my actual bold take is the Wizards. Because I was actually looking at the standings the other day, and I'm like, maybe the Wizards can sneak in there. Because the Magic are a good team, but
Bradley Beal himself's better than that whole team. So
yeah, I mean, he's by far the best player on both those teams. So
I think
maybe they could sneak in.
The way he's been playing this year, I think they could sneak in.
And maybe, John Wall comes back.
He's not coming back.
Maybe he comes back.
He's not coming back.
I don't know. Who knows? But yeah, so I guess to end our NBA talk, John Beilein, Michigan's own John Beilein, was fired. Or not fired. I think they mutually agreed to part ways last night. I feel like this is maybe the worst college basketball coach to NBA coach jump that we've ever seen. I mean, a lot of times there's Rick Pitino sucked when you moved to the NBA, but at least most of these guys who failed, at least they lasted a season or two. Beilein lasted 4 months.
Couldn't have gone to a more toxic franchise either.
Yeah.
Oof, that's a tough gig.
And I was reading an article before we recorded, and it said that Beilein was having second thoughts of leaving Michigan back in October after they played a couple preseason games. He was already thinking about maybe he should have stayed in Michigan. So, as a Michigan fan and a big lover of John Beilein, I'm kind of sad that he failed. Because he really kind of turned our program around. I mean, we were nothing, and then he came and made 2 Final Fours, 2 national championship appearances. But at the same time, I was not a fan of the way he left Michigan, so I feel like it's kind of karma a little bit. I mean, he kind of left us hanging there, and yeah, so I guess it's kind of karma. I know you're not a Michigan fan, Chris, but what do you think of him leaving?
I think it was a bit of a blindside, kind of like Mel Tucker leaving
Colorado.
Yeah, it was really abrupt.
I think we were kind of talking about this. Yeah, before.
Just kind of out of nowhere that it happened, really last second.
Yeah, it was in May, so.
It seemed like the wrong decision right when it happened, especially maybe if it was a different team, things would have gone differently, but he tried to run it like a college program, and that's not going to work in the NBA.
All reports said that the players felt like he was a dictator, felt like it was really heavy on fundamentals and film study.
When they already mostly know the fundamentals and stuff.
And that stuff... in my opinion, also the NBA players are just kind of whiny. Come on, let's do some film, let's do some fundamentals. Shut up. But at the same time, that's just not how NBA players are, and you have to adapt yourself because, then things like this happen. They're not going to trade everyone on the team just so they help make the coach feel better. It's a lot easier just to fire the coach when things aren't working well. And also, he made the stupid thugs comment.
Right.
Apparently, they started playing songs that had the word thug in it intentionally in front of him. So he just lost the respect of the locker room.
Yeah, he seemed to have lost cabin pressure after that.
Yeah, Andre Drummond, who we went over last week, who got traded over there, he said that instantly, right when he walked in, he said, wow, this is way worse than Detroit, which if you have an environment that's worse than Detroit, then that really sucks. You really suck. That's a really big problem. Especially because Drummond was like, oh, screw you, Detroit, you traded me. And then he goes to Cleveland, and he's like, wow, this sucks. That's not good.
Nope, not at all. What's next for John Beilein,
I don't know. He's 67 years old. I feel like he can find another coaching job in the college ranks. He's not going back to the NBA.
No, there's no chance.
I feel like he probably wanted to go back to college back in October when he reportedly said that quote. But he was kind of just screwed because he signed a 5-year deal.
Right.
But I don't know what college, but...
All right, I'll give you... I think Jay Wright is going to leave and go to the NBA. Don't know where. And he will take the Villanova job for a couple years, and they will be pretty good. That's my... I don't know.
I feel like John Beilein, if he's gonna go anywhere, he's gonna do something like he did at Michigan, maybe a team, a big program that's just kind of sucks, and he can kind of leave his mark.
But I'm not saying to the extent of Michigan, but I kind of feel like Villanova is slightly past their glory.
They're
still good, but Michigan had good years after being really had the Fab Five and stuff. They weren't bad every year. They had a couple decent seasons before he came there or whatever. I believe.
Yeah, I mean they were really bad by the time he showed up.
Right.
But yeah, because that was because all the sanctions and the Chris Webber
Right.
stuff and everything
Right.
like that. But I don't know. I
think it
feel
could
like
be a potential landing spot for him. It's a smaller school.
Yeah,
not a
I could see it,
high-profile
yeah.
job. They don't get insane recruits or anything.
Yeah.
But I think he'll do a good job there.
You're convincing me. I wasn't buying it at first, but yeah, Villanova.
I see Big East basketball in
he's
his
not
future.
he's not gonna go to he's not gonna do Jawan and
No.
get all the 5-star guys. That's just
Nope.
not how he builds.
He'll build it up
but
with the people that they have there and his decent recruiting classes he comes
Yeah.
in. And that's kind of what Villanova. That's kind of what Jay Wright does. They're honestly pretty similar coaches, and I think Wright is a very good candidate to go to the NBA. I would say an extremely good candidate. I'm surprised he's not already in the
he's
NBA.
kind of a god there at Villanova, though. It'd be kind of like Nick Saban leaving Alabama, or
It's true.
Tony Bennett leaving Virginia, or something like
yeah,
that.
he's great.
You won a national championship. I don't know what your deal is with Tony Bennett,
It
but
sucks.
I guess the other big NBA, quote unquote big NBA news from yesterday was Reggie Jackson got bought out of his contract with the Pistons. He's finally gone, and now he's with the Clippers. So, Chris, what did you think of Reggie? You're a big Reggie Jackson fan, so how did you feel about when he left?
Oh man, I cried a lot, a lot of tears. Got to drink a lot of water today to replenish that. No, I'm so happy he's gone. But honestly, LA is not a bad landing spot for him, to be honest. If I don't like him at all. He does have some talent, I will give him that, but he would be a great bench guard for them, I'm not going to lie. I think that's a very good place for him to sign. And I'm glad he's gone from here.
They showed on ESPN, they showed like their new starting 5 and their first 5 off the bench, and it was pretty good. And
It looked very impressive, man.
I mean, if he can't, obviously he's not going to win a championship here, so hopefully he finds success and wins a championship. I wasn't a big Reggie Jackson hater. I mean, I thought we needed to get rid of him because he's always hurt. We're paying him a ton of money, and we're trying to rebuild.
I think he's kind of cancerous, but on the bench,
yes.
On the bench, I think he can come off the bench in LA and do a pretty good job because he doesn't even have to be. He's not even a top 5 player on the team, but he can still put up some buckets for sure. He can get hot in a hurry.
Yeah, I mean he was a borderline. I know we don't want to talk about it, but he was a borderline all-star that one year when
he had that one really
when
good
they
year.
made the playoffs and got swept by the Cavs, but were like really competitive against the Cavs even though they got swept.
That wasn't bad.
That was,
all right for a
I
couple
liked
years.
that team with Tobias.
Well, I missed Tobias
yeah.
a lot. He was really good. I wish we would have given him a max.
Stanley Johnson actually wasn't terrible during that series. That was like his apex mountain of his career.
Remember he was talking crap about LeBron.
Yeah, and then he sucked ever. That was his rookie year, I think. He was honestly he was better in his rookie year than anyways. This isn't a Stanley Johnson.
Could be.
We're not. I don't know.
Certainly could
I don't want
be.
to deep dive on Stanley Johnson's career. I'm okay. So I think that's pretty much it for NBA talk. But like Chris teased earlier, we briefly talked about NASCAR a while ago, but this week we're gonna really do a deep dive in the NASCAR Daytona 500.
Let's go.
I know I've been a big NASCAR fan since I was 4. It's one of my favorite sports, if not my favorite sport to watch. It's kind of a guilty pleasure of mine, not gonna lie. And it dominated though. It's not that popular, but it dominated. It was 3 of the top 5 trending things on Twitter Monday night, and it dominated the top 2 headlines on ESPN. So, Chris, what happened in this race, and why was it so popular?
Man, Daytona 500. I'm gonna I'll kind of address my fandom of NASCAR. I was just as big, if not a bigger, NASCAR fan since about 3 or 4. And I love the sport. It's my favorite sport by far. It wasn't even close. I watched every race. I raced with the little toy cars. Jeff Gordon, loved them, still love them. Kind of hit a lull for me for a few years. I think that was the first race I've watched in a couple years, and I was kind of just watching it at first as a meme almost. And then I was like, man, this is awesome. I got to keep watching it. So I think I'm going to try to get back into it this year so me and Drew can talk about it more often. But anyways, about the actual race, Daytona 500, it's a classic race, classic sporting event. It was just a fantastic finish. There was a couple really big wrecks towards the end there. The big names such as Jimmy Johnson, Kyle Busch getting knocked out of the race a little earlier than they wanted to, exactly. They were all up towards the top, and, Kyle Busch, I think he had some debris on his tire or something.
Yeah, I think he blew a tire. He may have blew an engine, too, it ended up being. They thought it was just a tire, then he blew an engine, because he was smoking everywhere, and that was crazy.
And then Jimmy Johnson, he was involved.
He was
in
involved in
a
that massive crash.
Huge wreck with like what 12 to go, something like that, 10 to go.
I think it was a little more than that,
Maybe.
but yeah, it was later in the race
It was
for sure.
a huge wreck.
And knocked like all the guys that were up there for most of the race out, basically.
Anyone past about the top 6 got it. Most of them got involved in the crash, including him. Joey Logano got into a crash as well, another big name. He actually started a wreck.
He started the big Jimmy Johnson. He started
it.
And he knocked into somebody. I can't remember who he knocked into. But then that guy he knocked into Eric Almirola. Right. And Eric Almirola knocked into Brad Keselowski.
Yeah, Brad Keselowski.
All hell broke loose after that. I will say real quick, though, the Fox production was kind of subpar because during that big wreck, they were panning to Kyle Busch's like blown out car from like 5 minutes ago.
Yeah,
and then they cut back and all the cars are in the grass, flipped over on fire, and you're like, "What? How did this happen? Like, how did we get here?" I was kind of disappointed by that.
I was kind of annoyed by it. They did it a couple different times.
Yeah,
there's the actual wreck because they were showing some coverage from the old time.
Usually they do like the split screen, and the one time they went to a commercial break, no split screen, come back. All the cars that were in front are no longer in front, and I have no idea what happened. And they don't even show a replay. It's like, come on, Jeff Gordon. Like, let's get with the program here.
Right.
But yeah, the race was really good. And then even after that, you had a bunch of guys up there that like usually aren't up there competing for wins. One of which is Ryan Newman, who, he's a good driver, but he's usually in there like in the top 10, but more towards like the latter half of the top 10, not the top. But he led there like the most of the ending portion of the race.
It was Denny Hamlin.
Then Denny Hamlin passed him, and then he passed it. Ryan Newman with Ryan Blaney passed Denny Hamlin on the final restart. Looked like Newman was going to win it all, and then looked like Ryan Blaney kind of got him a little bit loose. Something happened with his car, and of course he flipped over. Denny Hamlin won the race. He flipped over a couple times, got drilled
by another car that had no chance of avoiding him, and he flipped a few more times.
Yeah.
It was one of the scarier things I've ever seen.
I've watched a lot of NASCAR races, and honestly, that wreck was terrible, obviously, but it's you get so used to watching the wrecks that it's like, okay, well, they're going to walk away. And then it got scary when like Denny Hamlin kind of stopped celebrating a little bit, and he looked like he was not as happy. Like originally he was burning out, he was going nuts, and then it was like he looked like on his face he wasn't as happy.
No,
and then
he had not gotten the news before because Fox did a terrible job, figuring that stuff out.
Yeah.
I think it was more on them than they had a bad.
Yeah, him and Joe Gibbs, they both released a statement like apologizing like the night of, saying, "Hey, we're sorry, we didn't know about it." But then I got concerned when they stopped showing Newman. They didn't show him getting out of the car. They didn't show anything. And then they put the black screens up so you couldn't see him getting out of the car. They weren't even addressing him at all. They just kept saying, I hope Ryan's okay. They interviewed other drivers. I hope Ryan's okay. And it got kind of scary. And I know
Jeff Gordon, even you could kind of see him fighting
and then,
tears
but
on the broadcast.
Right when they went off air, they gave that really scary from him and Mike Joy. The scary send off with this sport's really dangerous and we've come a long way in safety.
We
but
can't give you any more information.
But things still come. Yeah, and it's
that
like
he's on the ambulance.
Yeah,
like, wow.
Is he? I thought he died. Like I was really scared. And I like Ryan Newman. I'm a Ryan Newman fan, and it was scary. And I know I watch a lot of documentaries about Dale Earnhardt, who of course tragically died at the Daytona 500 20 years ago, and it was very similar to that. It was very similar to those.
We've come a long way in safety, but the impact against the wall and then drilling the other car.
Yeah, and he was on fire too.
And the car flipped like 20 times.
Yes,
and the car was on fire.
And he got drilled in the driver's side door a couple times. I mean, it was scary. But fortunately, late that night, a few hours after the race ended, he Roush's team released a statement saying how he was awake, or he wasn't awake, but that his injuries were serious but not life-threatening. And then yesterday a report came out saying that he was awake and talking to family and friends. And then today we got a picture of him walking with his kids. He actually looked okay. He didn't look anything. I mean, of course, I'm sure there's some sort of injuries, but I was worried that like facial paralysis, facial reconstruction, anything like that. I feared the worst. But the picture he looked just like Ryan Newman, and it was crazy to see. But it just really kind of, I guess, thank God in a way. I mean, that was a scary trash. And trash. It was a trashy crash, and it was scary. And I'm just happy he's alive. I really am.
I'm happy he's alive because it doesn't put a big damper on how good the race was.
Yeah,
It was one of the better NASCAR races I've even watched, to be honest. And it got me right back into the sport. I'm really excited to watch this next weekend, the Las Vegas race. What's it called?
The Pennzoil 400 at Las Vegas.
Not one of the best tracks or anything, but
Yeah.
I'm excited to try to get back into it this year. I'm gonna really commit to try to watching as many times as I can.
Yeah.
Because I had so much fun watching this.
It was a fun race. It was a really fun race. And of course, the crash kind of dampened the mood over the race. But like I said when we started off, I mean, it was dominating all the sports, like trending news, all that stuff,
Right.
and it never does that. So it was even before the wreck. And the wreck kind of just even added to more of the coverage,
Right.
which is good for the sport because it's got to grow. And like you said, back when we were little kids, it was like huge, and
Giant.
then it really kind of tailed off there. Now it's starting to get kind of bigger, but. Denny Hamlin won the race.
I'm not a big Denny Hamlin fan, but he's a fantastic driver. He's one of the better drivers in the circuit.
This is his.
Yeah,
sorry.
you got it.
I was going to say it was his second consecutive Daytona 500, and he it's his third overall because he won it back in 2016 as well.
He runs well at that track.
And 2016 was the closest Daytona 500 finish of all time, and the one on Monday night was the second closest. So now Denny Hamlin has both of those records, which is kind of cool.
It's awesome. Congratulations to him for sure.
Yeah,
Great run by him.
And I used to hate him. I'm not gonna lie. I was not a Denny Hamlin fan, but I actually met him, and he's actually a really nice guy. So now I'm kind of partial towards him. But I was disappointed that he won because I really wanted Newman to win. Like I said,
as well.
And I also Ryan Blaney's my
yeah.
favorite driver, so I also wanted him to win too. And because they didn't show like they were too focused on the wreck, so when they crossed the start finish line, it looked like from my point of view, it looked like Blaney won, and I'm like, oh sweet. But then Hamlin won. I was like, okay, that's cool. But Hamlin wins a lot, and he's
a great racer.
Yeah, but I know when you have the opportunity of someone crazy winning the race, I was like, that'd be kind of cooler. But whatever. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to kind of analyze this race because it's so crazy, and like the guys who are usually up there weren't up there because of crazy wrecks, like we already mentioned. So it's kind of hard to kind of use this race as like, oh, well, this guy's going to be good this year because of this race. I mean, it's just hard. It's hard to predict.
It's hard jumping right back into the sport when drivers like Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt Jr., and Carl Edwards were like guys I grew up watching and loved. Those are my three favorite racers, and none of them are in it anymore. So I'm trying to find like
who are
new
these guys
drivers to like now, and I guess I'm gonna kind of try to lean towards like Joey Logano. I like him.
I like Joey. Yeah,
I'm a big fan.
A lot of people hate him, but I like him.
I also like Martin Truex Jr. I think he's a good racer.
Not
a lot of people really like him.
He's kind of a whiner in my opinion.
He complains a little. But I think he's
cool.
Yeah.
He's cool. They're all whiners though. After
I
every
hate
race,
Kyle Busch.
Yeah. I mean, who doesn't like Kyle Busch? My brother loves Kyle Busch.
That's
his favorite. That's my brother's favorite guy too.
Jimmy Johnson. I'm not a big Jimmy Johnson.
Neither am I.
One of the greatest drivers of all time.
Yes,
it would have been cool to see him win his last Daytona.
I was rooting for him. I was like, yeah, let's.
Even though I can't stand him.
I thought it would be kind of cool.
Really
they do go back to Daytona later in the year, so hopefully he can win that race.
Same,
but it's not the Daytona 500, but it's still a cool race.
He gets one more shot at this track, which is one of the more entertaining, probably the best track, honestly, in my opinion. I think it's one of them.
It's either this or Talladega also. The super speedways give a really tremendous racing, and then the short tracks too give.
Martinsville's sweet.
Bristol's probably my favorite. I like Bristol a little bit more than Daytona.
Cool.
But Daytona, obviously, it's the Super Bowl of motorsports, as they love to call it. So it was a great race. It was a big race, and yeah, I'm looking forward to talking NASCAR. But like I said, we'll probably have more analysis next week after next week's race. But this week it's more just like Ryan Newman's crash was crazy. The race in general was just nuts, and it was a fun race to watch.
It was definitely fun to watch.
Yeah,
I'm excited to try to get back into it for sure.
Yeah,
should be a good time.
So. For our bets this week, we're doing two things. Keeping with the NASCAR theme, the Pennzoil 400 at Las Vegas, like we teased at earlier. We're going to pick who we think is going to finish in the top 5. So we're going to pick one driver, and if this driver finishes in the top 5, then that person wins.
Yeah.
So, Chris, who's your driver?
I'm going to go with a little bit of a dark horse pick. I thought he ran a really good race last week. He's unfortunately the brother of the most hated racer of probably all time, in my opinion. I hate Kyle Busch, but I'm gonna go with Kurt Busch. I think he gets a little too much hate just because he has the same last name.
Kurt Busch gets a lot of hate because he told what's his name? A reporter, Dr. Jerry Punch, back in 2012. He got into a huge argument with him, called him a P word. I'm pretty sure he told him to go F himself. It was pretty inappropriate. You should look it up on YouTube. It's a pretty crazy.
All right, I will.
He also, he kind of went nuts, not going to lie. Now, he's better now. He also thought his ex-wife, one of his ex-wives was an assassin, I think it was. But then it turned out that maybe that was accurate. So, yeah, people don't like Kurt Busch for reasons outside of Kyle Busch. Yeah, so he's
okay. Fine.
You should look it up. Like we could honestly do an hour just on Kurt Busch's life. Like it's nuts. Some of the stuff this guy's done, it's insane.
I don't really follow his backstory much, so I guess I'm a little off there. But
he's cool now. Anyway. He's cool now. I like him. Like I liked him. I don't know why. Even when he was doing all that crazy stuff, I was like, yeah, I like Kurt Busch.
I enjoy him on the track, and I think he's a solid. I don't think he's one of the elite racers, but I think he's kind of just always really consistent.
Yeah,
he's always
former
champion.
Up there. Yeah,
right.
And he was up there last week. He just got.
Right.
They said in his post-race interview, after he got involved in one of those wrecks, he just said, oh, wrong place, wrong time. But, yeah, nothing he could do about that. But, yeah, seriously, it's weird because, Martin Truex Jr., like I said, he whines one time, and I'm like, man, I hate that guy. But Kurt Busch, he, goes absolutely insane for, 3 years. And I'm like, yeah, he's fine. I like him. Yeah, good pick.
Thanks.
For me, I'm going to steal your guy, and I'm going to go Joey Logano. He's always good at Las Vegas, and he's actually my pick to win the NASCAR championship this year.
Oh, wow.
So I'm going Joey. I'm going Joey Logano. So yeah, that's our fun NASCAR talk. But we have one more bet that we're going to do. We actually kind of talked about this game earlier very briefly, but Portland Trail Blazers versus the New Orleans Pelicans. Kind of a random game, but I like Zion and Chris likes Dame, obviously. So, Blazers Pelicans, 10:30 p.m. Friday night. We got two things going on this game. We're gonna pick who's gonna win and by how much, as well as how many points Zion's gonna score. So, Chris, how about you start me off with your picks?
All right. So I think Portland's gonna pull. It's at home for Portland. I think they're gonna pull out the win by 4 points. I think it's gonna be a really good game. And then I think Zion's gonna put up 24. I think he's a tough matchup for the Blazers. But maybe they'll have a better strategy playing him for a second time in a couple weeks.
So I'm gonna go pretty much the opposite. I'm gonna go Pelicans by 8.
Wow.
And they're gonna win. And I think Zion's gonna have at least 30. So I'm gonna go 30. I'll go 30. Straight 30. But yeah, that's pretty much it. We didn't get time to talk about the Astros this week.
Oh, darn.
But we kind of talked about that in other episodes. If you want to, you can go check those out. Hear our thoughts about that. Really no new news. It's just Mike Trout's really mad. Aaron Judge is really mad. Cody Bellinger's really mad. But like I said, go check out our other videos on the channel, and you can listen to those and hear our thoughts about that. But Chris, you got anything else?
No, that's pretty much it for me.
Okay, so like I said before, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us at TheUSBCast, and make sure on YouTube you hit those ring that bell for those post notifications so you hear about our latest uploads. But
Yes,
Chris,
sir.
if you don't have anything else, that's it for this week, and we hope to hear you guys. We'll be off next week, then we'll be back the week after that. So.
No, we'll actually be off for a couple weeks.
Oh yeah, we'll be off for 2 weeks, and then we'll be back after that. But it won't be as long as our other break. So.
Nope. All right, peace.